Hey, everybody. Welcome back again to Austin Sports Weekend right here in the SphereTV.com studios, the beautiful studios.
It's been a very eventful week.
It
let
has
me
been
tell you
a
that
very
much.
eventful week. NFL football is week one is over. So we can actually say that we've got some sports on the field, we got some sports on the tape, and we can actually take a look at this. It's really hard to judge what the teams are going to do the first three weekends because it's brand new teams. There's a lot of brand new coaches, a lot of brand new teams, a lot of brand new situations this week. But first of all, we're going to cover week one, what happened, and then we'll jump into looking at our predictions for week two. Our first game of the year was
Lions at the Chiefs.
Lions at the Chiefs. The Chiefs had some injuries. Their star defensive player Jones was still out with a contract dispute.
They probably could have needed him on the field.
They definitely could have needed him. And then their star tight end
Travis Kelce
Travis
was injured.
was out with an injury, and that definitely showed on the field. The Chiefs lost
That's
21
be
to 20.
A tale of the week right there. Injuries.
Injuries. There were, unfortunately, there's a lot more injuries these days. Honestly, I think it's because the preseason is not used like it used to be. There's a lot of starters don't play very much time in the preseason, and they don't get warmed up, I don't think, like they should. So we end up with a lot more injuries. But Kelsey's injury was minor. He just couldn't play that game. He'll probably be back.
They could have needed him out there.
Their defense didn't look very good. So immediately after the game, almost immediately, suddenly they figured out a way to get Jones a contract signed.
Yep.
So he'll be back next week.
Not to mention the wide receiver problems.
Oh, we've seen a lot of drops, college and NFL. To be honest, we've seen dropsies over the past couple of
But
weeks.
specifically, one Kadarius Toney made a high blooper reel out there.
He ended up only how many catches did he have? One catch for how many yards? So one catch for 1 yard
On 5 targets
on
with
5
three
targets,
drops.
and one of them was bounced right off his hands and
Not
ended
one,
up being a pick six.
Not 2, but 3
drops.
dropsies.
I say, and one of them was a pick six, which cost you the game. So they lost the game on some bad offensive play. And again, it's early in the year, and if I remember right, the Chiefs I think lost game 1 last year and ended up winning the Super Bowl. So we're not putting them in the coffin or anything. But they could definitely use Kelce back on the field and Jones back on the field.
Have some catching receivers that use the hands.
Yeah, we might want to do a little bit more work on the.
What are this is what you and I talk about all of the time.
Uh-huh.
What are the hands for? What is the purpose of the hand?
Catch the ball. I mean,
What are the eyes for?
watch the ball till it gets in your hands. If you're a receiver, that's really the only 2 things you need to do. But we've had a lot of dropsies lately. Jumping into Sunday's game, we had your Panthers at the Falcons and
Turnover ridden.
growing pains.
Turnover
Growing pains.
ridden.
Your quarterback threw, 3 picks?
2 interceptions.
2 interceptions.
Still had the growing pains of an NFL quarterback starting out.
And again, me and you were worried about their offensive line.
It's starting to come to fruit here.
Yeah, so the Panthers are going to have to do a little bit something with their offensive line. But they dumped a lot of picks. They dumped a lot of talent to get to where they're at. And you knew it was going to be growing pains. I was just wishful thinking that they might take care of the Falcons, but the Falcons did it. Honestly, the Falcons didn't wow me either.
They didn't have much of a passing game.
No,
That could be worrisome.
Yeah, so again, that division is going to be up in the air quite a bit. So I don't know exactly who's going to win it, but hopefully week 2 will look better for your Panthers. We had my Cowboys. Now, this game shocked me.
Absolutely annihilating the New York Giants.
40-0.
This is a college game. This ain't an NFL game anymore.
I wouldn't have picked 40-0 if you had gave me 35 points to play with. I wouldn't pick 40-0.
They're a contender for stinker of the week just because of their performance.
Now, there were a few teams over the weekend that their defense was really impressive. And Dallas was one of those really 3 teams that their defense was just incredible. They were
Every single
they were
opportunity.
Everywhere. They were everywhere. They sacked. They scored on all 3.
The sorcerer powers. I always tell you, the sorcerer Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, and he has got These defensive
Guys
guys
flying around
believing.
like flying
Yeah,
everywhere.
believe it. But they scored on a blocked kick. They scored on an interception return.
They could have scored on defense twice if they wanted.
Their offense, honestly, Dallas's offense didn't wow me. It was sufficient, but honestly, with that defense,
Only punted one
that's
time
all
though.
you need, though.
Only needed the punt once
Mm-hmm.
though, so that's a step up from Kellen Moore.
Yes,
We'll get to Kellen Moore later.
Yes, he pulled another Kevin Moore. We had the Texans at the Ravens. The Ravens looked pretty good, 25-9. The Texans looked bad. We figured that out. We figured they would look bad too.
Contradictory point, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
The Baltimore Ravens lost their starting running back for the year with a
Yeah,
Achilles injury.
that's going to be a theme to this week, isn't it? Dobbins is out. Honestly, though, the Ravens is a whole running team. I know they were trying to go to the pass this year. They were trying to switch a little bit more to the pass.
There were obvious
from the run.
struggles. Lamar threw an interception first time out, so it's obviously a struggle to shift.
I said there was a lot of teams drove the struggle bus, but if you can sneak out a win while you're driving that struggle bus, and honestly, there's some good running backs that are out on the market still, or will be out on the market here within 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm not as worried about the Ravens losing Dobbins as some of the other teams that have had some injuries. We had the Bengals at the Browns. It was raining sideways, and the Bengals could not play football in it.
They could not play football at all.
No.
You think about two teams with two different styles.
Uh-huh.
The Browns are ground and pound. They want to punch you in the throat.
They want to run the ball, yeah.
They're gritty.
Yeah.
But the Bengals are finesse. They want to throw it over your head. They want to throw it behind your head and back and I don't know what I'm trying to get to, but they like to pass.
Well, that was about $90 million a touchdown. I mean, a point. You had 3 points for $275 million. So that was an expensive game. I'm not putting the Bengals in the casket. It was game one. It was horrible weather.
Plus,
rain's blowing sideways.
Jim Schwartz as Browns D coordinator had a solid debut.
The Browns defense, they got rid of
Joe Woods.
which is I think a horrible defensive coordinator. They got rid of him, and their defense looked very, very. Jamar Chase made a mistake of saying the Browns are the Browns. They're elves.
The Steelers had that. Had that given to them as well.
Yeah, and Myles Garrett said, "I'm going to introduce myself to every offensive lineman that's out there," and he did. But again, the Bengals.
Deshaun Watson was middling though.
Yeah, like I said, the Chiefs lost game one last year and won the Super Bowl. And honestly, I still think the Bengals are still one of my top 3 favorites to make it to the Super Bowl. This game was an aberration. It was really, 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 really bad weather and a very, very motivated
Browns team.
Browns defense. Yeah, we had the Buccaneers, Vikings. This one. I said there's a lot of shockers. It's hard to pick week 1 or week 2 because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yep.
The Bucks beat the Vikings in Minnesota.
But hey, it's a one-score game. That's what they had last year. All of last year they had
Last year
one-score
they
games.
won 11 games, and what of them? 10 of them were one score or something. So yeah, this was a one-score game, and they lost this one.
Now, lost to Todd Bowles. That is worrisome, but they lost.
Yeah.
To Baker Mayfield looks a little rejuvenated out there.
Oh yeah, it does. And do you think maybe the Vikings missed Dalvin Cook? Maybe?
Missed that running game that he provides.
When you only scored 17 points, you don't have a running game to take pressure off your passing game. Maybe, I don't know. And the other Cook brother looked pretty good. Although that was brother against brother.
Yep.
The running back on the Bucks is a Cook, and the running back on the Vikings was Cook brothers. We had the Titans at the Saints.
Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill was in full playoff form.
He
He
threw
threw 3 picks.
3 interceptions.
I think the last time he threw 3 interceptions was in the playoffs.
He's literal playoff Tannehill.
He was playoff Tannehill in week 1. Derrick Henry still looked like Derrick Henry. He was running over people. I think he stiff-armed one guy for
Tannehill
eight
just
or
keeps
10 yards.
forcing it balls into tight windows, even where DeAndre Hopkins is completely blanketed.
Yeah. I still think they miss the wide receiver.
A.J. Brown, that's...
A.J. Brown's balling up in Philadelphia, and they could have really used him out there. They've got a good team, but I just don't know if I've always questioned if Tannehill was the guy.
Yep.
So I just don't know.
Vrabel
I
kind
still
of made
question.
some questionable decisions. Could this be the end of his tenure if this keeps up?
If they end up missing the playoffs this year, I'm afraid so. I'm a Vrabel fan too. I really like Mike Vrabel. I think he was a fantastic player when he played, but I think he's a really good coach too. I just think his GMs have put him in really bad situations to play ball. They took away his talent, but we'll see as we go. We had the Jaguars at the Colts. That one sort of went
Kind of up and down performance for Anthony Richardson starting out. He did leave the game late.
He ran a touchdown in, which we knew he was going to. He would be a fantastic runner. It was the passing part that we.
He was up and
questioning.
down in that regard.
Yeah, the Jaguars won by 10. Again, the Jaguars didn't look fantastic, but they won by 10. The 49ers at the Steelers. This is the other of the three defenses I thought were just fantastic. The 49ers defense looks for real.
The Steelers' offense
Again.
looks mediocre.
And again, I don't know if it's the Steelers offense or if it's the 49ers defense.
You
know,
showed me an image of Matt Canada's scheme, and guess his last name is Canada. You can make as many Maple Leaf jokes as you want.
yes.
But his offense was so overwhelmed. He brought over a stat. There was like in one quarter they had negative yards.
Yes, they have negative yards for a quarter. But again, they did score 7 points on the Steelers. The Giants didn't score anything on the Cowboys, and the Bengals only scored 3 on the Browns. So out of the 3 best defenses, the Steelers scored the most points, 7. But I don't. Again, I'm not going to bury the Steelers either because that was a very tough defense that they played against. On the good note, Brock Purdy came back and looked pretty good. He looked like he was
Pretty
himself.
good,
He looked-
baby.
Are you a pretty girl now? We had the Cardinals at the Commanders.
Dobbs makes his first start as a Cardinal. Interesting results.
Yeah, he actually looked pretty good. He had a fair passing completion percentage. The Commanders didn't. Honestly, neither one of these teams look like they're going to the Super Bowl, to be honest. But
The Commanders made some mistakes.
yeah.
Like they were not in command the whole game.
We had the Raiders at the Broncos. The Broncos played better the whole entire game except for the last 3 minutes.
How do you lose to Josh McDaniels 3 times in a row?
I don't know.
I know he has Jimmy G, which everyone likes to crap on, but
No, the Broncos played better the entire game. You want to know what cost them? They lost 4 points on missed kicks.
the kicking.
They missed a field goal, which was makeable by the guy kicking, and they missed
We brought
an extra point.
Anyone who's watched us in the past, for some new viewers, I doubt,
Yeah.
we have a dojo of
Nope.
kicking field goals.
Yes. I think kicking is huge in a game. It can change a game. I mean, if you punt it and it goes to the 40-yard line or you punt it and it goes to the 15, game changing. If you can make a 53-yard field goal or you miss a 53-yard field goal, game changing. The Broncos lost it because of the kicking game. So I'm a huge kicking game fan. I'm not a fan, but I think it's just as important. We had the Dolphins at the Chargers. That was actually a really good game.
Offensive fireworks exploding everywhere.
36-34. That was a fun game to watch.
Tua and Tyreek Hill lit up the whole place.
Tyreek Hill said he was going to go get 2,000 yards receiving this year. He may get 2,500. He was what?
He was torching everything in sight yesterday.
He was throwing the ball. He was catching the ball. It was a fun game to watch. If you like offense,
If you like
this was the game to
speed.
watch. Yeah.
If you like speed, he is that. He is speed.
I am really, really, really interested to see how the Bills looked iffy. The Dolphins may be the favorite in that division now after week 1.
Let's get to the
But
elephant in the room.
We'll get on here in just a second. We had the Eagles at the Patriots. The Eagles looked really good in the first half, and then the Patriots looked really good in the second half. I think maybe the Eagles let down a little bit, but the Eagles were the better team in that 125-20.
Yeah, I feel like overcame some mistakes early, and then they just got it together.
I said this was a mistake-filled weekend of missed kicks and turnovers, and it was drop passes. It was pretty bad. We had the Packers at the Bears.
Jordan Love's debut goes very well.
38-20. I would have not have picked an 18-point win. But
I
you
think
know
the
what?
Bears need a culture change over there.
I think the Packers could pull out a middle school, high school coach and bring him in as quarterback and still own the Bears. For some reason, the Packers beat the Bears every time.
Pack in their lunch money and take it away.
It doesn't matter who they bring, man. They could bring anybody to, and they scored 38 points on them. I feel sorry for Justin Fields. You know, whenever the Bears drafted him, we were like, oh, man, Justin Fields' career's over. I mean, right when they drafted him, because
The Bears can't develop a quarterback.
no, they can't develop a quarterback. We had the Rams at the Seahawks. That went different than I thought, too.
The Rams might have some blood left.
The Rams they had a little life back to them again. Now, that was without Cooper Kupp, too. I was thinking.
Imagine if he comes back. Will the
The
Rams
Rams
go
actually-
back to the postseason?
The Rams actually may have a little firepower. They actually may. And then the game supposed to have been the game of the week, Monday Night Football.
This
the Bills
game was set up
at
perfectly.
the Jets. 9-11, you're in New York. Aaron
Lights are
Rodgers.
flying everywhere.
Jets going over. Aaron Rodgers, the little interview before. I expect to win the Super Bowl. I mean, you were like, man, I almost believe him, you know? And then you get out there and
4 snaps.
4 snaps,
Four
like
snaps
a minute 12 seconds in, he gets
Snap
tackled and
the
just
Achilles.
hits him just right on the heel and snaps his Achilles. So Aaron Rodgers is done for the year.
That
And-
is absolutely heartbreaking.
I mean, I feel sorry for him. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for the Jets fans. I feel bad for the Jets team. I feel bad for me. I mean, we missed out on Aaron Rodgers at the Jets this year.
we missed out. I don't know.
I'm not a huge Jets fan, but man, I really wanted to see how this thing played out. I did.
Now it's
I was
going to
so
be an
heartbroken,
ultimate
man.
what if.
Yeah.
Now
They are-
after that tragic event,
He is going to be out the entire year, but they say that he should be back for next year. Now we've got Wilson in.
and he was up and down.
He was up and down. He threw a pick or two, and then
Garrett Wilson, though, I
Man,
see you with that catch.
that catch. Week 1 is probably the catch of the year. It's going to be hard to beat that catch, dude. I don't care if it's week 16 or week 18. It's going to be hard to beat that catch that Wilson had.
That's a high amount of
He reached
awareness.
over and took an interception and basically won the game with it, because if that had been a pick, they would have lost the game. They ended up going to overtime. And
they had
how
a-
about a doink from the Bills
It goes doink and through the uprights.
to take you to overtime, and then
and
a
then
punt
the
in
Jets
overtime?
and the Jets return a punt return for the touchdown
That
to win
was-
the game.
That will probably be, honestly, I hate to say it, but that might be the Jets' highlight for the year, that game.
All of that hype.
But now they've got to get another quarterback in. Some people say Flacco because he's been there for 2 or 3 years. Some people say Carson Wentz because he's not on a team right now. We don't really know, but they do need to bring some experience in that quarterback room. They got to get somebody, and they may get 2 somebodies. I don't
Hackett
really
called
know.
an all right game. I'm not going to say it was absolutely
No.
horrible, but
we
it was,
were worried about the Jets' offensive line here too,
and it cost
the
them.
first 2 dropbacks was a throwaway and a sack. So I mean,
Do you put the blame on the O-line here in this instance?
I'm not going to blame it because that was just a freak tackle that just called him the right way. But I don't think the Jets team was playing with a good offensive line there. So, but anyways, that's really disappointing to everybody. But hey, we go on to week number
2.
2. Let's go ahead and jump into our Thursday game. We got the Vikings at the Eagles. If the Vikings can lose at home to the Buccaneers, then the Eagles are going to beat them.
Yes, we go ahead and put a
Yeah.
thumbs up on that one because I'm going to put
Yeah.
the birds in there.
Yeah, Philadelphia's favored by 7. I'll take
I'm
that.
going to take the birds.
Well, we'll go ahead and jump into my Cowboys. See, this was what I was really. It's the Jets at the Cowboys. I was really looking forward so much to seeing Aaron Rodgers at Dallas.
But not to be.
Not to be, man. It's just not to be.
Why do the Jets always have so many horrible things happen to their team over the
Tell
years?
the freaky stat on. See, Aaron Rodgers.
On the field, Vinny Testaverde, a little-known quarterback from the heyday, from your time,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
came
He
out
was a
onto
great
the
quarterback.
field to be celebrated by the Jet fans.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, on that night, 24 years prior,
Yeah.
he got injured
He tore his Achilles.
on the left side.
He tore his left Achilles 24 days to the day.
24 years to the day
24 years to the day.
that Aaron Rodgers
that
tore
Aaron
his
Rodgers tore
left
his.
Achilles.
On his
Left.
on his left, and they were looking for a Super Bowl run that year. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's almost a mirror It's crazy, freaky. But anyways, the Jets are at the Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 8.5. I got to take the Cowboys. They just beat the Giants by 40, so
And the Jets seem a little demoralized.
they're going to be juggling, trying to figure out what to do. So you got to take the Cowboys. We got the Raiders at the Bills.
The Bills should bounce back, but Josh Allen had a bad performance.
Yeah.
3 interceptions.
I
I've told
don't-
you, Ken Dorsey. I don't know if I trust.
I don't know if Ken Dorsey's the man now.
But he misses Brian Dable.
Brian Dable, the head coach of the Giants, was the offensive coordinator for the
Buffalo.
Bills when they looked good.
He looked crisp.
Last year, Dorsey, and then this year, Dorsey, the offenses and the turnovers. I don't know if Dorsey's going to. I was wanting to give Dorsey the benefit of the doubt because it's his first offensive coordinator
But
job.
it looks like Josh Allen's regressed.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think the Bills may have took another step back. We will see this week. They're favored by 9.5. I'm going to go the Bills by 10, but we will see. This is going to be something here. We got the Ravens at the Bengals. I'm going to take the Bengals. I think the Bengals just had a bad week with the weather and everything. I think they bounce back this week. The line's 3.5, and I think the Bengals
Yeah,
win
Joe
that
Burrow
one.
usually plays well against Baltimore.
Yeah, he's on the ball in Baltimore quite a bit there. We have to go Chiefs at the Jaguars. I'm going to take the Chiefs again. I don't think the Chiefs start out 0-2.
Maybe if Kadarius Toney could catch a pass, maybe.
Maybe I don't think they'll drop the passes. We're going to have Kelsey back. We're going to have Jones back on the defense. Kansas City's favored by 3. I think it's probably 7-10 actually. Got the Chargers at the Titans.
Speaking of that nice Kellen Moore surprise, but
Yeah,
I'm going to pick the Chargers.
I would probably pick the Chargers too. I don't want the Chargers. I'm not a Titans fan, but I'm not a Titans hater. I live in Tennessee, so I got a little bit of a soft spot for it. I like Derrick Henry plays for Alabama. I'm a Tennessee fan. I don't care. I like Derrick Henry. He's a fantastic player, but the Chargers are probably going to win.
Based off the out-talented thing.
Yeah, just about on that. We got the Packers at the Falcons. I'm going to probably take the Packers too. They scored 38 points on the Bears. The Falcons looked iffy even in their win, so we got to go Pack. They're favored by 2. We'll take the Pack. Got the Seahawks at the Lions. I'm going to stick with the Lions too. They're favored by 6 over the Seahawks.
I think the Lions have a overwhelming favorite, in my opinion, to win the NFC North.
I think the Lions do win the NFC North this year. The Packers may make it interesting after watch Love. He actually played pretty good. But I'm still going to take the Lions there. We got the Colts at the Texans. This is the
Tank
somebody's
bowl.
got to lose it bowl. One
I
of those
think I'm
teams
gonna
has
pick
to
the
lose.
Colts.
Well, I don't know. It could be tied in triple in overtime. I don't know.
I want
But
to pick the Colts.
I'll probably pick the Colts too, just because of talent. The Colts do have a little more talent than the Texans. It's only a 1-point game, so if the Colts win, it's going to be by 1 point or more. We got the Bears at the Buccaneers. After last week's Bears and last week's Buccaneers,
I want to pick.
got to pick the Buccaneers.
Can Baker Mayfield continue to overcome Todd Bowles' Todd Bowlingness?
Maybe. I'm
And
not
for
a.
those of you who don't know about Todd Bowlingness, it's mediocrity.
Todd Bowles was the head coach of the Jets, and they were horrible. And they ended up getting rid of him, and they brought him down. He's one of the best defensive coordinators in the game. I love Todd Bowles as a defensive coordinator. I question his head coaching abilities. But right now, Baker Mayfield's looking good, so we'll take Baker Mayfield -3. We got the Giants at the Cardinals. I don't think the Giants go 0-2, so I'll probably pick the Giants in this one too.
I think Dobbs might have a better performance. Maybe you want to pick that up?
Yeah. I think the Cardinals are definitely going to have a better performance, but I still think the Giants have more talent. This is probably going to be a talent winning, and Barkley and the wide receiver room for the Giants, I think the Giants probably win it. The Giants are favored by 5.5. Do you think the Cardinals might keep it closer than 5.5?
I might pick 7.
Okay, me too. I'm leaning towards the Giants there. I hope Dobbs throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and proves me wrong. We got the 49ers at the Rams. I'm still taking the 49ers. Their defense is just too much. I don't trust the Rams yet. The Rams had a good week 1, but I don't trust them because of last year. So I'm still going to take the 49ers. I think their defense is just fantastic. 49ers are favored by 8. I'll still take that. The Commanders at the Broncos, taking the Broncos.
I think the Broncos
If they
are
can
gonna
hit their
bounce-
field goals.
If they can play consistently after
Yeah.
making field goals.
Yeah, I'm on Denver's favored by 3.5. I'm honestly really comfortable with that. This may be a 7 point plus game. We got the Dolphins at the Patriots. Dolphins. The Patriots played pretty good
in the second half.
in the second half, so they may.
But the Dolphins
make it
offense
interesting.
just looked like a dynamo explosive TNT box.
They look like they're going to score some points on some people. Yeah, Miami's only favored by 2.5, so we
That's
got
the best
Miami.
offense I'd seen since the Dan Marino days.
Yeah, hey, that looked like Dan Marino. Monday Night Football, we got not one, but 2 games of Monday Night
games.
Football. Yeah, we got the Saints at your Panthers.
We need to fix the offensive line and the turnover problems before I get too confident.
Yeah, the Saints looked pretty good week 1. The Panthers, honestly, if it hadn't been for the turnovers, I still think they would have looked better. What do you got? The Saints are favored by 3. What do you
I
think?
might pick New Orleans here
Yeah,
as much as it.
As much as it stings to do that, probably
I gotta be real.
we were afraid of the offensive line for the Panthers, and right now it's looking that way. Not unless they pull it together. We hope they pull it together. Again, we hope that Young throws for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns and proves us wrong. And then the nightcap is the Browns at the Steelers. The Browns defense, man, how about the Steelers getting the 49ers defense and the Browns defense back to back?
The Browns are oozing with talent on the defensive side. They just needed
oozing.
the right guy.
Yeah, so Cleveland's favored by 2.5. I probably got to take Cleveland.
Starting 2-0 after all.
Starting 2-0 after all that.
Deshaun
I still
Watson
don't
has to-
trust Deshaun Watson. He'll probably throw an interception or fumble or something. I don't know. I'm not a Deshaun Watson fan, but they got a stable of running backs, and I do like Amari Cooper, and their defense is stacked. So we will probably go with the Browns there, and that is NFL football. There's a lot of interesting things happening in week 1, wasn't there?
Yep.
So we are looking forward to week 2. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks again for SevereTV.com. And thanks for Autographs Plus for sponsoring us. Again, they got 2 locations, one in Sevierville, one in Pigeon Forge. Their website is www.apsevere.com. Be sure and check them out. I think Wivik is going to be over at their Pigeon Forge store this week, so be sure and check their stuff out. Other than that, we look forward to week 2 in the NFL. Thanks for stopping by.
See you next week.
See you next week.